There's going to be this big issue, the big fight, even as the Democratic states are trying to lock down again and some squishy Republicans follow them. The big battle is going to be over the schools, because whether or not we reopen the schools is going to dictate a fair bit about our economy. It's going to dictate how much government spending is going to have to be injected back into the economy, because for a lot of parents, they need the schools to look after their kids. They rely on it. So even if some schools, like in New York, for instance, they say they're going to reopen maybe a couple days a week, but then keep the kids home a few days a week, that's not going to work for parents. And parents in New York, by the way, work. You have to work. It's a very expensive city. So what is going to happen? People are going to be forced out of work even longer. And it would seem to me that is what the object is of this second lockdown. So we talk to the medical scientists, we talk to the doctors. Is it safe to reopen the schools? Clearly, the mainstream media want that answer to be no. And yet, on MSNBC, they asked a number of doctors, and they got a scientifically correct but politically inconvenient answer.
Would you let your kids go back to school?
I will. My kids are looking forward to it.
Yes. Period. Absolutely.
Absolutely. As much as I can.
Without a hesitation.
Without a hesitation, yes.
I have no concerns about sending my child to school in the fall.
I would let my kids go back to school.
Dr. John Torres, NBC News.
They all said yes.
So you've got the report from the straight reporter, then it cuts back to the anchor on MSNBC looking furious. They all said yes. They will send their kids back to school and let the economy reopen and possibly re-elect the orange man. That is terrible. The left relies on science when it's convenient for them, when the experts back them up, and then they ignore science when it's not convenient. We obviously see this on the science of sex. They don't care a lot about science when they're talking about 56 imaginary genders. They don't care a lot about science when they pretend that babies are not really people. But they try to rely on science when some of the public health experts give them what they want politically. So politically speaking, not the public health experts, politically, they're trying to shut down the schools. The teachers union in Los Angeles shows you how political this has gotten. So the union is demanding, the teachers unions have caused so much trouble throughout this country, but especially in places like New York and California. Well, in Los Angeles, the teachers union is demanding, before they agree to allow the schools to reopen, they're demanding that all students must be tested for COVID-19 in the weeks prior to returning to school. Okay, fine, whatever. I guess we're okay with that, right? That seems relatively reasonable. Next one. All students must take weekly COVID-19 tests. Seems kind of like overkill. But okay, fine. It's still at least focused on the virus. These teachers are a little bit wacky, but we already knew that. Okay, fine. Let's say we give in to that one. Then the students must wear door-to-door mandatory face masks at all times. Well, that's not going to work. First of all, that's absurd that you think that school kids are going to sit on a bus with that stupid mask on. Second of all, what are they going to? They're going to eat in the cafeteria. They're going to have their mask on and slip it through underneath the mask. I don't think so. Or at recess, they're going to do that. Or at all. No, that's not going to happen. But even that third request, I see, or demand rather, the teachers aren't requesting. But I see how it relates to the virus. But they have other demands. The union does not want to reopen the schools from the virus until there is a moratorium on charter schools, so good schools that threaten their cushy jobs and their educational failures and give kids a better education. The union, teachers union, doesn't want to reopen schools until the police are defunded. Why? I don't know. What does that have to do with coronavirus? Absolutely nothing. They don't want to reopen the schools until they have Medicare for all. So these freaking teachers are not allowing their students to be educated, probably ever, judging by the demands they're making. But they're not even allowing the facade of education, the schools to reopen, until we have socialist medicine. They don't want to reopen the schools until we have a wealth tax. So not just an income tax, not just raising taxes on the money you earn, but actually just going into your bank account, stealing the money that you've already paid taxes on. And until there is a federal bailout for, I don't know, I guess for everybody, for California, for Los Angeles, for the schools. That's not about the virus. They are using the virus. They are exploiting the virus. Whatever threat the virus poses, which would appear to have been dramatically overhyped, they are using that to push for a radical agenda, the likes of which we have rarely seen in this country. This video is sponsored by BlinkSale, the revolutionary invoicing software for contractors and small businesses. Spend less time billing and more time making bank with BlinkSale. Get a free trial at the link in the video description.